I put together a crazy parlay with massive odds of 48 from 4 events. Let's break it down. First parlay, first event. Leeds versus Burnley, and here I found a very interesting pick. Because at first glance it looks like a simple game for the favorite, where Leeds should just come out and comfortably take their 3 points. But if we dig deeper, there are nuances that actually make this match even better for a high-scoring scenario. I'll start with Leeds, because this is a team with a clear goal right now: to finish this season strong and secure their place in the Premier League without any stress at the end. And what's important is that by their performances, they look stronger than their results suggest. Against Chelsea in the Cup, they looked solid, created chances, but once again ran into their main problem: finishing. And this isn't the first time they've created enough to score but ended up with nothing. But here's the flip side that works in our favor. If they consistently create chances, sooner or later it has to turn into goals, especially against a team like this. Plus at home it's playing much more boldly and aggressively, they don't sit back, they press from the start, and against a weak defense that's a huge factor. Buddy, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post match analysis every day, and always try to keep my subscribers in profit. I'm also always open to fair criticism and your well-argued picks in the comment. I read everything. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. Now let's move to Burnley, because here it's even simpler. But there are still details. The team is already relegated. The season is basically over, no pressure at all, and that usually leads to two scenarios. Either they completely collapse or they start playing freely. And Burnley are currently in that second mode, but with one big problem. They have the worst defense in the league, and that's not just numbers, that's the actual level of their play. They concede a lot, often and against almost everyone. Even when they try to play carefully, mistakes still happen. And against a team like Leeds that likes to play on the front foot and create chances, this is a perfect matchup. But at the same time, Burnley don't always go scoreless. Even against top teams they find their moments. And that can't be ignored. So if we put everything together, the picture is very clear. Leeds will push, create and go for the win because they need points and confidence. Burnley will not park the bus completely because there is no reason to. And they will get their chances too. In the end, we get a game where Leeds should score, and most likely more than once. My main pick: Leeds over 1.5 goals in the parlay, because 2 goals from the hosts look like a base scenario against his defense. And for the wild parlay, Leeds win plus BTTS yes at 3.2. First parlay and second event: Girona versus Mallorca, and here I found a very interesting pick, because at first glance it looks like a typical tense relegation battle, where teams will be cautious and afraid to make mistakes. But if we dig deeper, it actually points towards an open game with goals. I'll start with Girona, because it is a team living on swings, and you can see it in their recent results. They can draw with Real Madrid, beat Villarreal, and then lose to Valencia without much resistance. And that inconsistency is the key point, because this is not a team that knows how to shut games down. They always play through attack, create chances, but also give opportunities to the opponent. This is especially noticeable at home, where they push forward, score, but also concede regularly. Defense is their main issue. 50 goals conceded this season is a lot, and that creates risk against anyone. Now Mallorca. The situation is even more telling. Away from home, they are one of the worst teams in the league. Just one win in 16 matches. That's a disaster. But more important is how they lose. They don't sit back, they don't park the bus, they try to play actively, press and acca, and that leads to a lot of defensive mistakes. They concede almost 2 goals per away game, which makes them a perfect opponent for attacking teams. But at the same time, they are not completely useless in attack. They do find their moments, and against Girona's defense they will have chances. So putting it all together, the picture is very clear. Girona at home will play on the front foot, push and create because they need the win. Mallorca will not sit back because that's not their style, and they will respond with their own attacks. Both teams have defensive issues, both play open football, and a draw doesn't suit either side. This leads to a game with chances on both ends. My main pick: over 2 goals in the parlay, because 2 goals look like the base scenario here. And for the wild parlay: Girona win at 2.1. Second parlay and first event, Lokomotiv versus Dynamo Moscow, and here I found a very interesting pick, because at first glance it looks like a derby where anything can happen. But if we dig deeper, there is a clear title toward one team and a pretty understandable game script. I'll start with Lokomotiv because they put themselves in this situation. In autumn, they were flying, playing great football, even looking like title contenders. But in spring, everything collapsed. And it's important to understand, this is not just a drop in results, it's a systemic decline. The team moves worse, works worse without the ball, the defense started to fall apart, and the attack no longer compensates like before. That's the key point. They stopped converting their own mistakes. Before they could concede, but then scored 2 or 3. Now that's gone. In 6 of their last 9 matches, they scored 1 goal or less, which is a serious signal for a team with such ambitions. Now Dynamo. The picture is the opposite. They are not perfect, but under Gusev they look more alike. There is structure, there is a clear idea, and most importantly, the attack is working. They create chances, score consistently, and the numbers back it up. Over 2 expected goals on average after the break is a very strong indicator. Plus, they don't fall apart in tough matches, losing only to Zenit and Rubin, who are in great form. So here is the key point. Lokomotiv are unstable and vulnerable, especially in defense. Dynamo, on the other hand, are in a great attacking form and know how to exploit such weaknesses. And since it's a derby, no one will sit back. Lokomotiv at home will still push forward, while Dynamo, with their current form, will definitely find space and chances. So putting it all together, the game should have chances. But Dynamo look like the more complete and dangerous team right now. My main pick, Dynamo over 1 goal in the parlay, because their attack is consistently creating, and against this defense, 1 goal is the minimum. And for the wild parlay, Dynamo win at 3.2. Second parlay and second event, Gaziantep versus Beşiktaş, and here I found a very interesting pick, because at first glance it looks like Beşiktaş should take this game on class and motivation. But if we dig deeper, the scenario looks much more tight and not so straightforward. I'll start with Gaziantep, because despite unstable results, at home they are different team. Yes, overall only 2 wins in a long stretch and many losses, including a heavy 0-3 defeat last round. But context matters. At home they compete, they haven't lost in 3 matches, and most important, they know how to slow the game down when needed. They don't rush forward, they stay compact and minimize risks, and that's exactly the style that can cause problems for Beşiktaş. Plus, head-to-head record matters. Gaziantep haven't lost in them in 4 matches, which shows they know how to adapt. Now Beşiktaş. Not as simple as it looks. Yes, they have motivation, fighting for European spots, but their form raises questions. A 0-0 against the bottom team is already a warning sign, especially at home. Away games have also been poor. 2 losses in a row showing instability. Add to that squad issues and suspension in defense, which hurts their balance even more. But here's the paradox. Beşiktaş don't look like a team capable of blowing opponents away right now. Yes, they have more quality on paper, but they lack the sharpness to break down compact defense and score a lot. So putting it all together, the picture is clear. Gaziantep at home will sit deep, slow the tempo, Beşiktaş will try to control the ball, but without much sharpness. This leads to a close game with few chances and no goal fest. My main pick under 4 goals in the parlay, and for the wild parlay, x2 plus under 3.5 at 2.1.